at the Memphis postgame show, holding up a sign that read, "LeBron will ruin Space Jam," like he did the Lakers.
Oh, that's well done. That's a good troll job.
Cruel.
I like if you're watching League Pass, a bunch of teams have their pre- and post-game stuff in the arena with the fans coming out. Our friend Chris Mannix, who's been on the show obviously a bunch, when he does stuff with the Celtics, they do a similar setup like that. I like that. And that's a good sign. A little game.
Mannix will be out here in a little bit. He can tell us all about those guys and that sign, but he won't. Time for some stories to start your morning, starting with one of the big names coming out of the NFL draft, Kyler Murray. A lot of concerns about the quarterback's stature may soon be alleviated. According to reports, he is up to 206 pounds. See, how important is Kyler's weight come combine time?
Weight is very, very important as a quarterback, especially when you're undersized. We just haven't seen many guys under 210 pounds in the NFL. That is a standard. There is a height standard, that being around 6'1", and there's a weight standard, and that being around 215 pounds. So being under that, and if it's hand size, which I think is going to be very small, typically small people got small feet, small hands.
So this is the only thing, though.
It will affect.
This is the only thing he can control, though. Between now and the combine, he can't get taller.
To a certain degree. Because you only have so much when you're framed.
Right. You can only carry so much. My point is that he's not getting taller, no matter how big he grows his hair, and his hands aren't getting bigger. So he is showing the attention that he understands the thing. Control your controllables.
I do have some hand exercises that I show my kids that fudge the test a little bit.
So
really? Then it actually makes it a little bit longer.
Oh, because
you get your thumb down because they go this way when they measure.
Call Kyler.
I got you. For a small feet, small person.
To the NBA now, James Harden scored 28 points in a win against the Hawks last night. That snaps his 32-game streak of scoring at least 30 points. Going 0 for 10 from deep didn't help his cause in this one, but Nick, how impressive was this streak?
This was all-time stuff, man. I mean, it is. I don't think this streak will be matched anytime soon. By soon, I mean in years and years in the NBA. Like, there's a reason that it was Wilt Chamberlain's alone, and Wilt Chamberlain's streak is untouchable. So this is essentially the modern-day record, and most importantly, team 22-10 during the streak. Like, I mean, this was a team that took advantage, or 21-11, pardon me, during the streak, took advantage of it. It was going to come to an end, came to an end last night.
This streak was out of necessity.
Yes.
I mean, they had a couple frontline players banged up, and he took over. I don't think it can be duplicated because of the durability. We'll never give James Harden, but in this, he showed unusual athleticism and ability to be durable every single night doing that. Outstanding. Legendary stuff.
All right, to the Hawks side of this one, Trae Young lit it up last night. 36 points, including 8 3-pointers in Atlanta's loss to Houston. Nick, what'd you make of Trae's night?
And they were all deep threes. I mean, we're showing him. None of these were feet close.
I think he had 6 beyond 27 feet.
Absolutely. He had 8 made threes, all of them 26 feet or longer. And as you mentioned, 6 longer than 27 feet. If people haven't been watching the Hawks, which I don't blame you if you haven't been, the weakness in Trae Young's game so far this year has actually been his three-point efficiency. Believe it or not, he's been an excellent playmaker. He's been better at the rim than people thought. He just hadn't been able to find his stroke early on. I really liked him coming out of OU. I thought what he did his freshman year was spectacular, and now we're seeing it click in for him just a bit.
Yeah, and if he needs to have that type of range, because with a small frame, if you can have that Steph Curry, there's only a few people, that 26, 27, 28 feet, it makes it very difficult for the defense because, as you mentioned, he was better in the lane than we expected.
He's one of the many rookies that's just getting overshadowed because of how great Luke has been.
Moving on to the Celtics now. Their woes starting to outshine their pros. They've dropped 4 of their last 6, 5th place in the East, and thus more stories coming out on their pursuit of Anthony Davis. According to reports, they are prepared to offer literally anyone on their roster this offseason, including Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Boston also, remember, has an array of picks to offer the Pelicans. Nick, what do you think? Should the Celtics blow up their roster to trade for Anthony Davis?
Well, it's the only chance they have to trade for Anthony Davis. Like, let's make this very clear. If they weren't going to include Jason Tatum and other pieces as well, then the story is the Celtics are not going to pursue Anthony Davis. because the 2021 Memphis pick ain't getting it done. Jaylen Brown ain't getting it done. And so what this story didn't say is they will do this even if Kyrie leaves. That's going to be the real question for Danny Ainge, and I think I know the answer to that, which is if Kyrie leaves, will you still trade away Jason Tatum and others for what could be a one-year rental on Anthony Davis? You can make a strong argument you shouldn't. The argument you should is he'll come here, he'll love it, he'll love the culture, he'll love the fans, he'll want to stay. It's a big risk. But it's also, as we see more of Tatum and Brown and we see more of their young players, the risk to me becomes slightly smaller because Jason Tatum, I never said that he was a surefire scoring champ at some point in his future. I know a lot of people thought he was. What is Jason Tatum's best case scenario upside? What is Jaylen Brown's best case scenario upside? Those are real questions because we know the Lakers are going to offer everything. The Bulls might offer a guy like Lauri Markkanen, who is right now statistically better than any of the young players the Celtics have throughout his career. So there are some other factors to be at play here.
The Celtics are very fortunate that this deal wasn't done before the trade deadline. So they got it where they wanted to, where they can play out this year with Kyrie, have a chance to try to get to the finals, because that would be a very successful season with Kyrie and Gordon Hayward coming back. But to me, if Kyrie leaves, I can't trade for Anthony Davis. I can't trade everything on a rental. Like, I understand what happened in OKC with Paul George. Very unique situation and great for the NBA, and Paul George is thriving there. I don't believe that Kawhi is going to do the same thing in Toronto. Now, if we have back-to-back top 5 players that on a rental have decided that they're going to stay in Toronto is a smaller market, less than advantageous than other markets, but you know that would be huge news in the NBA. Back-to-back, Paul George, Kawhi. Then I think that Boston, but I don't think that's going to happen. Right. So for me, I wouldn't take the chance because I believe that there's better landing spots. You mentioned Chicago. New York would be on the books because Kyrie would be there. KD would be there. So yes, like I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't trade everything, losing Kyrie Irving, trade Tatum. I wouldn't do that.
But I want Celtics fans and everyone to understand that we know what New Orleans turned down for Anthony Davis, right? All the Lakers young guys, multiple picks. So they clearly believe they can do better than that offer. Well, let's just show, you don't need a blind reveal here. Let's just show the young guys versus the young guys. Because Ingram, by the way, who's played great in the last couple weeks, Ingram and Kuzma versus Tatum and Brown, it was just a given that obviously Tatum and Brown are a better duo. Okay, if they are, they have not, the per-game stats aren't showing it. And with Ingram coming on strong at the end of the year and Tatum and Brown trailing off to a degree, there is an element of, well, can Boston even get in the game? If they turn down from the Lakers, right. Ingram, Kuzma, I'm not even including Lonzo Ball, who, depending on the executive you talk to, either think he's a very good prospect or not a very good prospect. Those 3 guys plus picks. So for the Celtics, is it Tatum, Brown, and the Memphis pick, plus Marcus Smart to make the salaries work? That would be the type of deal Danny Ainge has never made. Danny Ainge has never been the all-in move. But is that the one he'd have
to do? If you're the Pelicans, you'd want that or more, right?
Well, given what they turned down from the Lakers, you would think that that is the standard that they are setting. They didn't turn down that Lakers offer to sell low on Anthony Davis this summer. Right. That much I know.
All right, let's move on to Odell Beckham. Our guy Jay Glazer caused a stir when he made a bold prediction that Odell might be traded.